Oh boy. So yeah, I can definitively say that there's quite a few movies that I could name off the top of my head that are maybe have just maybe one little line or a single camera shot or maybe even an entire scene in them that are a little bit too much or are kind of unnecessary, don't really belong in the film, that just keep a movie from being just that much closer to perfect. Now, as far as this particular movie is concerned, I don't know if I would put it in the near perfect category, but if it wasn't for a 2 to 3 minute portion, this movie would have been significantly better because now I am officially grossed out. And I don't mean grossed out in like a bloody horror movie kind of way, because I can get over that. It's more of an uncomfortable gross out, and I just feel icky even thinking about it. So let's get this going, shall we? Cue the music. Hey everybody, how's it going? How you doing? Welcome back. So for today, the title of the movie is The Day of Our Lord, which is a overly holy title for a movie that has a lot of unholy things in it that I wish I hadn't seen. However, in the spirit of solidarity and giving every movie its fair shake, I watched the movie and there's actually a lot of things that are not bad about the film. It's just that one little thing that's just keeping everything down. However, if you are a big horror nut and you're into these kind of possession type films, maybe you'll scrape some enjoyment out of it. I don't know. And that's basically the main bulk of the film, because it's essentially about this ex-priest who went to prison for a little while. But lo and behold, this priest, when he gets out of prison, he has a friend who has a daughter who he believes is possessed. So the friend of the priest brings his daughter over to his house, they meet, they talk, things start to get a little, exorcism-y, at which point we get to see this priest have a battle of wits with this possessed person. Now, aside from the one particular scene that I got really kind of about, the movie's actually really not that bad. That's not to say that everything was super awesome, because everything probably could have been done a little bit more proficiently. The only other real negative that I have is that the friend of the priest, his acting wasn't super awesome. Now, normally I don't say that when it comes to foreign films. By the way, this is a film in Spanish, if you didn't know that already. But when it comes to foreign languages, I try not to judge the acting too harshly because I don't really know the flow of the language, so I can't say what is overacting or underacting or being overdramatic or trying too hard to be comedic. I just don't know. But for the most part, if an actor conveys an emotion and I can understand everything that they're feeling, despite, however they're delivering their lines, then I would consider that a successful portrayal. But the friend of the priest, his voice was just a little overly animated. It just didn't feel, it didn't feel natural compared to the priest or the daughter or any other lines that you hear in the movie. So that's really the only other negative that I have. Besides that, the movie was actually pretty creative. And it wasn't so much it wasn't trying to be scary, but it was kind of thrillery and kind of trying to take you on this little roller coaster ride to follow this character. And I was on board for pretty much the entire movie up until the one scene, but then I liked the way the movie ended. I liked a lot of other details about it. I thought the guy that played the priest actually did pretty good from what I can tell of the language. And then the girl that played the possessed person, she was actually really good for maybe 3/4 of it, and then 1/4 of it was again, just a little too out there, but she was kind of supposed to be, so I don't really put that as a negative. But for the job that she was given to do, she showed a really, really wide range, and I thought that was good. It takes talent to do that. And I like the fact that this movie could have been possibly construed as a psychological thriller, because there's also flashbacks into the priest's life and why he went to jail in the first place. But then there's other parts of the movie that are hallucinations, but they're not always the priest's hallucinations, so that added a whole other layer of mystery to the whole entire story. And quite a few other films recently, I didn't remember too much about the music, which is a good sign because that means it blended well and it fit the atmosphere. I thought the ending of the movie was weird, but it wasn't uncreative and it wasn't boring and it wasn't a turnoff. It was just it was unexpected, but that's not always a bad thing. And the movie was also well paced and it wasn't super long. It didn't take long to get going, and you can tell because I think it's less than an hour and a half long. And the movie did an especially good job of getting you to figure out whether or not she's actually possessed, because that's part of the mystery of the entire movie. Because the whole time you're just thinking, okay, is this girl possessed, or is the priest's friend just going out of his mind? Is he possessed and that's why he brought her over? Is the priest possessed because he's having all these visions? I don't know. But again, all that really cool, interesting stuff was hindered by the one thing that I really, really didn't like. And it's just, yeah, some people might be able to get over it. Can't help it, guys. Sorry. And the particular scene I'm talking about, it doesn't show you everything necessarily, but it just goes just a tad bit too far to the point where it was just kind of unnecessary and it didn't add to the story. So I was just kind of like, dude, can we skip through this, like, please? Because it's one thing to know whether or not something exists, like something that you don't like exists, and then it's another thing to have to watch it or be shown something that pertains to it. And I just, yeah, it was just gratuitous for gratuity's sake, and some people are into that. I'm not into that. So with all that being said, it's a bummer. Like with that one scene, if they had maybe cut it down in half so that you see it, but you don't see as much of it, I probably would have given this movie something along the lines of like an 8.5 out of 10. But as it stands, I'm giving it a -2 points handicap. So I think I'm gonna give it a 6.5 out of 10 because I am never gonna watch this movie again just because of that. But it's like I say, if you're a big buff for horror movies and you're like really into possession movies, maybe you'll dig it. And maybe, you know, the things that bother me probably won't bother other people, but I don't know. Either way, those are my thoughts. What are your guys' thoughts? Did you see the movie? Have you heard of it? Do you know the scene I'm talking about? If you do, just put a spoiler warning in there, but feel free to talk about it if you want. Other than that, if you guys like this review, give me a like, subscribe, share, hit the bell, do all that other typical YouTube-y stuff, and I will catch you guys next time.